Tonya Hofmann's fabulous. Tonya Hofmann's fabulous. Tonya Hofmann's fabulous, fabulous TV show. Tonya.
Hello and welcome everyone. I'm so excited that you're back today. As you know, we're going to have another fantastic show, and I have the Deborah Bishop is in the house. Hey, Deborah.
Hey, I'm so happy to be here.
Yay! You're going to hear from her, and just like with all of our guests, you want to stick around and listen to what she's got to say because she is incredible, and I'm sure she's got some great offer that she's going to give you at the end to let you know more about her and how to connect with her. So stick around. So today I wanted to kind of go over, I do a Tonya's tip on every show, and it's really my way of saying, wake up and do something with your life, because I see so many people struggling, and it's only usually from themselves. They're struggling with themselves. They're struggling not to get away from what their traditionally comfort zone is and move to this amazing person, an amazing life that they can have. I was just talking to a wonderful woman over in Houston, and she was like, oh yeah, I want this, I want to do this, I want to do that. She goes, but I don't want to feel like, that I'm just doing it for the money. And what really gets into a lot of people's way is this concept that money is bad. And I had to kind of configure her brain waves to go, money is essential. It is a way of, it's kind of like a flow of energy. People give you money and you are giving them something amazing in return. And it's this energy release that really affects their life, that they're allowed to give up something that's precious to them to receive something truly amazing, and that's you. So I want you to start thinking that, you're really doing a disservice to people if you don't sell to them, if you don't open up their eyes and help them and buy into your product or your service. So really reach out and say, every time you meet somebody, how can I help this person? And that help must transition into some type of money exchange so that there is a wealth that's being transferred. So I wanted to introduce y'all to Deborah today because, oh my gosh, she is one of those people that has a wealth of knowledge and is just plain adorable anyways. So how are you doing, Miss Deborah?
I am doing fantastic, Tonya, and I'm really excited to be here and to get to share with your audience. And I don't think there's any such thing as coincidence, because here you are talking about relationship to money, and you know well what I talk about a lot. And a core amount of work I do, where most of my clients start with me, is exactly that. I am an inner image expert, because you will never outperform your own self-image. And specifically to your conversation there, or your tip, there is the reality that your net worth will never outperform your self-worth. So there's a lot to be said for what you just said.
Oh, good. So tell us a little bit about you and what you've gone through in your life.
Sure. Like I said, I'm an inner image expert, and I'm also a keynote performer. So about 4, I started my life on stage, and I've been in the performing arts my whole life, which has been a really amazing journey, and I love it. And my music is part of my presentations now, and just part of my way of expressing and teaching, which I'm very grateful for. And I have been on this interesting road. I call my work, Tonya, my vocation, because truly, no matter what else I've been doing, it seems like life has always pulled me back onto this road and pulled me and said, this is where you're supposed to be. And interestingly enough, as the journey has played out for me, whenever I have surrendered, it has always been the most abundant and plentiful and joyous and life-affirming. Have you ever found that?
Absolutely. I mean, I kept myself in a bubble for so long, trying to keep out myself, because it was just so much safer. But then you were watching this whole world go by, and you're like, finally at 38, 10 years ago now, I was like, oh my gosh, I have got to get out of this bubble. Have you ever felt like that?
Yes, I have felt like that. And what's really intriguing is my life, the way that it was very blessed. I've led a very amazing life. I've performed all over the world, done all sorts of really cool things. But like a lot of artists before me and many after, tragically, you know, often we find artists are propelled by some of their greater demons, and I was no exception. And I found myself one day, you know, I was about 18, and I was doing stuff I loved to do. I had been a produced playwright, you know, on stage, acting, singing, all that good stuff. And I woke up one day and I was doing everything I loved to do, but I had no joy in my life. And that was utterly terrifying. Can you imagine? I mean, today I can't even imagine I can, I lived it, but I can't imagine waking up and going, I don't get it anymore. It's a pretty frightening place. I'm certain you've experienced it because of the work you do as well.
Oh yeah, I've gone through so many horrible things in my life that there's been points that I was so low that I'm like, I can't imagine that life is worth living, you know? And then I look back and I'm like, I can't believe I used to think that.
It all makes sense when you know, 2020, right? Hindsight's 2020, but it can also be a really interesting limitation. But long story short, really what happened for me is I started to realize some really important things. And one was that for every event that had ever happened in my life, the one constant was me. No matter what I could say about anything else that happened, I was the one thing that was the constant in everything that was happening. And there was also a realization, because at the time I was going through this, right, there were therapists and there were psychiatrists, right? And what are therapists going to do? Tell you the problem, right? That's great. And I honor that profession, as I'm sure you do. They're important to our society, so they really do have a place, right?
Right.
But the idea of therapy was, it got me to a place where I knew I had the problem, and that was great. But then what? You know, and a psychiatrist was quite willing to medicate me, but I knew that wasn't it. And I was very blessed to meet people at that time in my life that were very life-changing for me. And I kind of immersed myself in the spiritual and the personal development world. And I got to a place where I started to realize, well, if I change me in here, the inner image, which I eventually figured out was what I was doing, maybe my life out here in the world would be different as well. And that kind of began my quest, which began my vocation.
That's amazing. I know when, you know, I have two rules. One of them is you have to be nice, and the other one, you can't be perfect. And it's amazing how many people that I talk to on you're not being nice, you know, because people are like, oh, Tonya, you got to kick this person out. They're just dragging us down. They're always wah, wah, wah. And 9 times out of 10, they're completely unaware that they are negative at all, right? Because they're not even looking at themselves from the outside looking in, right? Do you find that a lot with the people that you help?
Absolutely. Although I will say a common thread, and I work a lot with heart-centered, service-driven entrepreneurs, which means your coaches, your speakers, your authors, you know, visionaries, people who really want to start a movement in the world. Sometimes they just want to be a better person, you know, and be a better parent. And what I find consistent about all of them is yes to everything you said, except for one tiny little differential. And that is that they are getting that something is not working. They're at that point of awareness where they may not know what to do with that information, but they know that what they've been doing is not working, and they're looking for some form of an answer.
Nice. Because I know for a lot of people that I talk to, you know, I always, when they're wanting to coach with me, the first thing I tell them is, if someone was to meet you, if you were to meet yourself, would you book you to speak? So if, you know, I own the Public Speakers Association, in case y'all don't know that. And I just speak a lot with event people. And that's one of the things that they're frustrated with is somebody has an amazing expertise, but they don't even show it. They're not even glowing in their fabulousness, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that has everything to do with where I go with my clients who are working with me who are looking to not only connect the dots to the money, because that's very important. That's one of the side effects of doing my signature system known as the Whole Wealth Breakthrough. Whole being you need to be emotionally whole to really have a great, phenomenal life, and wealth meaning, yes, cash flow, but also confidence and great relationships and great health and time freedom. To me, if you have lots of money and you don't have any of those things, that's not wealth. And, or if you have a great relationship but you're flat broke, that's not wealth, so that's what whole wealth is all about. And, the once the cash flow is coming in, everything else becomes possible. So we need to have that happening. But we've also got this reality to, well, the cash isn't flowing because, like you said, they've got this great passion for something, but they can't get it out. They can't articulate it. Their confidence level is in the toilet. They're making excuses for themselves. They're showing up flustered and scattered, or, they're showing up so passionate that they're blowing the room away and everybody's repelling from them, and on all points in between, because they don't yet hear what the voices are really saying in the back of their head. And it's kind of what I call, it is what I call the foundational lie that's actually playing out.
I know for even myself, all of that, you can't do it, you're no one special, why would anybody listen to you, why would anyone want to book you to be in front of them, why would anyone want to read your book, why should you have your picture on the front of a book, it was all this. How do you get people to start moving away from that?
Well, the first thing is that, it's so great you're so present to a lot of that conversation. And that's awesome. It speaks really highly for the work that you've done on yourself, because most people couldn't articulate it that well.
Really?
We do get used to sort of an idea of some of the stuff we hear typically in our heads. The stuff we're hearing, though, is usually not the issue. It's the stuff we're not hearing that's really the problem. And then it comes down to, when we are hearing it, what are we really doing about it? Are we forcing our way through it? Are we telling ourselves to shut up? Are we beating ourselves up because this is what we're saying to ourselves? What are we doing? Because how we respond to this and what we do with this is also a direct reflection of whether the limitation is present or not in our lives. So the first thing I do with people is get clear with them on what you just said to me about, this is the things I know I'm saying, I want, and that's all great. That's awesome. So glad you know that. And let's look underneath that, because there's another layer there. If you're hearing that and you're still feeling like something isn't going the way you would want it to, what it means is that's what I call the big red or big neon arrow that's kind of pointing in the direction of the work, right? There's something underneath that's fueling that's on autopilot, because it's been there for so long. It's literally just become part of your nervous system. And whenever the circumstances play out a particular way, it just kicks in. And that's what we've got to get to, because that's when we can actually orchestrate change.
So it's like this thing that's holding all this in, like you put it all in a jar and you're like, okay, until I open that jar, but I don't even know that jar's there to open yet. Is that what you're meaning?
Yeah, that's kind of what I'm meaning. And the thing is like, you can go hunting for it. But the problem with this part of it, and what makes us all amazing as human beings, and I hope everybody hears this, we are not meant to go through all this stuff by ourselves. That's not how we are designed. We are really designed to be an interdependent species, not a codependent one. That's what's happened. We become enablers of each other, not supporters of each other. And so, we can go looking for these issues, but the problem with this one, the foundational lies and the belief systems that grow out of them, is that they started so long ago. They really do feel like, this is who I am, this is how life is, this is just how it goes. And all of those statements, whenever anybody feels that, please know that what you're really feeling is that limitation. You're running up against it right there inside of that conversation. What can I do differently? This is just how it goes, right? That's the conversation.
Is there a starting point that you think that people are starting to move and they're like ready, or is there like this plateau type of timing? Do you know what I'm saying? Is there like a critical moment that they have to kind of wait for, or is people could just jump in at any time?
To the discovery itself, or to the
Yeah, trying to start moving yourself, even to think that there's something that could be changed, that could be different.
People could, as far as doing the work goes, people could do the work at any time.
Oh.
Okay, there's not a particular pinnacle in life that somebody must get to in order to make this work applicable to them. In fact, I wish more people would seek this part out sooner than they do, because often what happens for people who are seeking me out and saying, yes, I want to work with you, let's do the breakthrough, let's just work with me, help me out here, they've often done the gambit of all these other things first, which are all great. They're all great. I'm not saying that's a wrong thing. It's a great thing to do. But what we don't realize in this conversation, when we go and we see other teachers and coaches and things, and we move our lives along and we learn the principles of success, and we learn what to do next as far as marketing our business, and is that the foundational lie, which is wrapped up, look at it, wrapped up like inside of us like this, it goes along for the ride. So it goes to all these workshops too, and it learns all of these things too. It's just all part of how we function. So there's never really a point where this work will suddenly have massive impact. This work will have massive impact at whatever time you decide to do it.
Do you think too that people have to be kind of committed to working it?
Oh, yeah.
Because I see a lot of people, they ask me to coach them, and I'm like, you are not even close to being ready mentally. You got to get yourself there. Do you find that, or is it just like, is there like a commitment level they have to be ready for?
They have to be willing to do the work. But what I have found when I am doing this type of work, that the people that I get into conversation with, and I may do a clarity session with, or maybe they've heard me speak, or they've done a workshop with me or something, they don't even get into a conversation with me really unless they are ready to hear this stuff. So that was the secret ingredient when you're saying, is there a right time? So really, again, it just gets back to they know something they're doing is not working. Now, a lot of people are motivated to work with me because of the money reality, and that's what they know is not working no matter what they do. And I'm sure you can relate to this. We all can relate to this. We know people who are like so passionate about what they're doing, and they feel their calling, they feel the purpose, or at least they're feeling it and they're trying to identify it, and they're so tapped in to those things, but they're not in relationship yet to money and cash flow. And so that's where a lot of people actually sort of have that aha moment, because it's sort of where it hurts. This is where the bills get paid, and this is what makes my dream possible or not. So that can be sometimes the deciding factor why people seek me out.
Because I know a lot of people, they come to me and they're like, oh, I want to be a speaker. I want to go out and change lives. I want to have this entrepreneurial lifestyle. I want to be able to go, with my kids when they go on a field trip, but yet I want to be making money. I want to, and they are so stuck on, I'm not ready. I've got to go and make money from another person in another job, right? And they're so stuck on that comfort level, because a lot of times it's what they've been through their whole life. People telling them what to do, when to do it, how much they're going to make. They don't have to make any decisions. Everything's kind of laid out for them, where as an entrepreneur, especially as a speaker, everything you're creating. So it's exciting, but it's also frightening for a lot of people.
Yeah. And, do they have to be ready is a lot of work? Yes, it is, but it isn't. It's a really simple system, what I put them through, as far as what I put them through. No, I'm kidding. No, it is. I specialize in working with really, really, really busy people. So it has to be simple. They have to be able to take what they're learning right into their lives. That's why the experience itself, the toolbox and the transformation, once you got the tools, it works. So it's 12 weeks, which is pretty quick when you consider it takes a lifetime to get to it. However, in the speaking world and everything you're just talking about, it all applies to, oh, I want to be this, but, oh, I want to do this, but. The buts are again indicators of self-worth, self-value, belief system, things we don't even know are going on back here that are just sort of deny. I described it this way earlier in a clarity session with a client, actually. And I said, the foundational lie is like putting a seed in the soil, and then we cultivate it with our life experiences. It turns into a beautiful belief system. So, but you got to think of it this way. it happens at such a young age, and that decision changes the trajectory of our lives. And it's like a wall, except that it's transparent. It's like looking through glass, right? So you think there's nothing there, except when you run into glass, it hurts. That's a really good sort of analogy of what I'm talking about. And this is running into the glass when you're saying, I got to go over here to make a living so that I can pay for the life I really want. That's running into a glass wall. That hurts, sucks, and it doesn't work.
Right. I know I've had to get out of my own way. It's all about personal development. And usually when people are not successful, they have not worked on themselves first. You know, you've got to get out of your own way. And that's why I wanted to bring Deborah to y'all today, because you can tell she knows what she's talking about. And it's so important to connect with people like her that can help you move. If you're having a hard time moving out of your own way, connect with her. And she's ready to help you. And that's what it's about, is finding people who are really willing to help you make a difference in your life, right?
Absolutely. I mean, I feel so privileged to do this work, and I love stories that I get to tell about my clients. I had an amazing woman contact me from New York. I don't even actually know how she found me, but she called me and we had a clarity session together, and she decided, I'm going to call you back in 3 days. Okay, call me back in 3 days. She called me back in 3 days. She got started with me. We got into the program together. And for everybody, I work by phone or by Skype, so it's really simple to work with me. It doesn't matter where you are in the world. And by the third session, she'd been calling in, and we've been talking, and something happened behind her on the call, which was really loud and rather profane, and it made me like, what the heck? Are you okay? And she came clean, and she told me in that moment that I don't know how she put it together to work with me or what she did. I never asked. But she was actually calling me from the shelter that she was staying in. She was calling me off a phone card on the shelter's phone.
Wow.
It was amazing. I mean, you talk about somebody willing to stop with the excuses. To this day, she is one of my greatest sources of inspiration. Whenever I got caught up in my stuff, I realized, wait a minute, she can do that, I can do this. And what happened was we went through the breakthrough together. Within 12 weeks of completion of that, she had her own business up and running. And within 6 months of completion of that, she had her own home and her own business. And within a year, because we came back, we did some more work together. We did a few things. And of course, I stayed in touch with her. Within a year of that, she was in her own home. She had her own business running, doing very, very well. And she was starting a nonprofit for women who are on the streets.
Nice.
So I love sharing stuff. Like, it's so great. I mean, she did the work. I was here to be the guide and the conduit. But I love that. I love it when clients will get in touch with me and say, my income doubled. I don't know what happened. I didn't do anything any differently, but my income doubled. And what happened was, you're right. They didn't do anything differently. They didn't do anything differently. They became someone different. And that's a really important distinction.
Exactly. Now, do you have a way for people to get in touch with you? Or do you have like an opt-in for a newsletter, something that they can reach out and find out more?
I do, absolutely. And there's a couple ways. One, I want to create an invitation to anybody who is watching this, hearing me, who is a fan of Tonya's, because I'm a fan of Tonya's. And I really want to support all of you and acknowledge all of you. And so I'm going to offer all of your viewers out here who are willing to take me up on it a wonderful, awesome, complimentary clarity session with me. And what that looks like, it's a one-on-one time spent together, typically about an hour. Private clients that may just want to consult with me for an hour pay above $1,000 for my time. So this is a nice give. And I want to do this because I love supporting my community, and your audience is my community, speakers, authors, coaches, all that. So what you need to do for this, though, is it's a little risky. You actually have to make a phone call. Okay? It's a phone call. It's not an opt-in. It's a phone call. Okay, I happen to like to do things like this because I think sometimes we hide out in the virtual world a little bit too much, and we go with our gut and we subscribe, or we opt in, or we do whatever we do, and then we get cold feet and we don't follow up. So I'm removing that barrier, and I'm just inviting you to call, and I'm going to give you a direct number. Okay, it's 615-823-0073. 625-823-0073. You will get me on that number, or you'll get my lovely virtual assistant. But either way, we will talk. And that is what I wanted to offer for your viewers.
Perfect. Okay, give that phone number one more time.
615-823-0073.
So all of you listening, really take her up on the offer. I mean, it's free. Why wouldn't you? Who knows what'll happen? That's the exciting part, is you never know what'll happen with your life from that moment on. So take advantage of it every single time, because it's well worth every penny and time that you have. Because again, you really have no idea what the opportunities that are laying out there for you. Well, I've loved you being on.
We have a tiny second?
Yes.
I just want to let them know what a clarity session is, because I'm realizing, what are they calling it for? Really, truly in life, I'm sure you can relate to this, and very quickly, we tend to do this. We tend to focus down, and we tend to just get really there. We just there. That's all we are. And we start missing all the things around us. What a clarity session does is it allows us to return to that 360-degree peripheral vision, so we can begin to really see where we're at, how we got there, and most importantly, begin to see the opportunities that are around us that we've been missing. That's what a clarity session is about. So give me a call.
Perfect. All right, so give her a call immediately, because you don't want to wait any moment, because you want to start moving your life forward right now. And I want to invite everybody to come to the Public Speakers Conference. It's going to be in San Antonio, June 14th through the 17th, so right around the corner. You have got to not miss this, because it is about connecting with amazing people that are there to help you. They're really doing real training that they're charging usually $2,500 for, because I've asked them to. And it's people that are all over this world. I even have a lady coming from Nigeria. I mean, we're going to have a blast. So come enjoy. Put Tonya Hofmann's TV show, or just put Tonya's TV show, or TV show if you can't even remember my name, into the coupon code. If you go to Public Speakers with an S, conference.com, put in TV show in the coupon code, take $100 off. All right. So I can't wait to meet y'all in person and get connected with Deborah. You won't want to miss that. And we can't wait to get to know you. So thank you, Deborah, for being on. I can't wait for you to be back on again.
Thank you so much, Tonya, and for everything you do. Truly appreciate you.
Yay. All right, everybody. We will see you next time.